Hi guys, welcome into the video. I hope you're having an amazing day, amazing night, whatever time it is for you. And if you saw the thumbnail, today I will be reviewing all the books I read in April. Now, I did not have a very big reading month. I actually didn't read much because I did go on a cruise and vacation and everything, and that really kind of put me in a slump. I feel like I wanted to read more, definitely on that cruise, but I only ended up reading one book, which it's fine. I had fun. That's all that really matters. I would have liked to read more, but I didn't. So yeah, anyways, let's get right into the video. So the first book, I did read mostly new releases last month. I don't know if that has any significance, but I did mostly read new releases, and my goal is to read 6 books a month, and I only ended up reading 4. Now, I had like 6 books on my TBR, and I only read one book. I only read one book from that whole TBR. Oops. I don't know if I'll be doing a TBR for this month. Maybe I'll include it in this video. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how much time I have, but let's just get right into it. It was a really exciting reading month. So the first book I read before my cruise was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This book destroyed me. Oh, there's my cat. I don't know what she put in this, but it was heartbreaking. Seeing Haymitch as a young teenager, and the changes he went through and everything, the character development, it was honestly heartbreaking. And I feel like it was really important to read this book because we got a lot of backstory about all the characters and everything, and I just really liked that aspect of it. We saw a lot of characters from the whole original trilogy that we got more backstory on, and I thought that was really important. And then also focusing on Haymitch, he just had a really heartbreaking life, and he had so much, and because he had so much, he had also had so much to lose as an individual, and I think he went through so much in his life, and seeing him go through that, I think really puts into perspective why he is who he is as a character in the original trilogy. And I feel like working backwards with the story, the original trilogy, she did a really good job of connecting all the points, and I felt like there were like no plot holes, and it was just amazing. This book is so heartbreaking, and I 100% recommend reading it. I gave this one a 5 stars. I did cry a lot. Was it the epilogue? It may have been the epilogue. I don't know. Did she even put an epilogue? Yeah, she did. It was the epilogue, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. That may be one of the saddest epilogues I've ever read. So yeah, that was my first 5-star, and I think it was my only one of April last month, which is surprising considering the books I read. And then the next one I read was Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I heard so many amazing things about this book and this author and everything, and I definitely will be reading more of their work because I did enjoy it, but I feel like it was almost too overhyped from some people. Like, I get it, people have different reading tastes and everything. It was not for me. I started it at the beginning of my cruise, and maybe the time between that kind of lowered it for me. I don't know, like a week later when I was on the plane home, I read over 300 pages of this book. Like, on the plane ride home, I completely finished it, like through the whole thing, and it was not my favorite. I love second chance romance, and this is a second chance romance, and I could feel the connection between these characters and what they went through together, and I really like that, the aspect of them growing up together and everything. But I just cannot get over what the male main character did. Like, I understand why they stopped talking for that long, for that amount of time. I understand that from the female main character's view, and if you've read this, you know the conflict. And honestly, I just didn't like it very much. I understand why they stopped talking, but I don't see it excusable. Like, the male main character's reasoning, I don't understand how that should be excusable. Just saying. But after all that, I did really enjoy it. I had fun. I don't think it's my favorite romance ever, which is fine. That's okay. It just wasn't my favorite, which I know a lot of people love this book, and I kind of find it forgettable, honestly, but I did really enjoy seeing the two main characters growing up together. I really liked that part of the book, as I've said. So I think I'm gonna give this a 3.5 stars. Like I said, it's not bad. I just did not like the conflict, if that makes sense. So that's that one. And then the next book I read, this series has taken over BookTok and BookTube and everything, and I feel like so many people were talking about this, and I tried so hard to avoid all spoilers, and I ended up getting one spoiler on Pinterest nonetheless before I started reading it, and I was so mad and super sad. But I don't honestly think it ruined my reading of this book. But if you haven't already guessed what it is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, and this is the third book in this YA trilogy, and I do believe there's another novella coming out and everything. So I rated Powerless 5 stars, and then Reckless was like 4, I think. It was not my favorite, but I did love it as well, if that makes sense. And then this book, originally I rated 5 stars. But I honestly think I rated it that because it is from one of my favorite authors, and I felt obligated to do that. I don't know why I had that in my mind, but I feel like it was kind of drawn out for me. I really love these characters and everything, and the plot twists were amazing. And even though I got that spoiler for a big event that happened in this book, I still was super surprised just because of the way Lauren Roberts executed these plot twists. I still really enjoyed it, and I honestly feel like it was a great ending to this series and everything. It just definitely didn't give me the same feelings I had as Powerless, and I know it probably shouldn't because the characters have changed and they have grown and everything, but honestly, it was okay. It was not my favorite book ever. I still really enjoyed it, and I never didn't want to read it. I just felt like it was drawn on a little too long, and yeah, so I gave this a 4.5 stars. And also, if you've read the last chapter, it might have been an epilogue, I don't know what it's called, but that actually broke my heart. Like, I know some people didn't like it, but as someone who's so sappy and someone who loved Adina and Mac, I just feel like it really made me feel a little bit. It definitely made me cry because it was just so sweet. I'm gonna start crying now. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm trying not to cry, but I was not okay after that, and this book just really made me feel things, and honestly, I did love it. It just wasn't my favorite, and I don't want to feel obligated to give it a 5 stars just because it's from one of my favorite series. Even though it's not a 5-star, this series is phenomenal, and I will be rereading the whole series after this because I just love it so much. And maybe I wasn't in the right place to read this book to give it a 5 stars, and maybe next time I read it, I'll give it a 5 stars. But so this was 4.5, and I did enjoy it so much. And Lauren Roberts, I love you. So I will be reading everything you ever put out. So thank you for these characters because I love Kai and Peyton so much, and Mac and Adina, and just everyone in this whole universe I love. Well, that's not always true. There's some characters I don't like. Some characters, but most of them I love. And I do hope you do make another novella. What characters you'll make as the next novella, but I'm excited to see. Honestly, if I haven't already mentioned, there was also another point of view in this book. I'm not going to tell you who. You're going to have to read for it. But honestly, I really enjoyed this point of view, and I felt that even though it's not a good person, I know that it's not a good person, I feel like it gave us a lot to the story, and added a lot of the background, and I feel like Lauren Roberts just did that so well with that extra point of view, and I just really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think it added a lot to the story. So I do recommend reading this whole series. I think it's done so well, and it is definitely one of my favorites. And then the last book I read in April. I'm getting my months all mixed up. I don't know why. But the last book I read was my book of the month pick for April, and it was Passion Project by London Sperry. I never know how to say this last name. I don't know why. But look at that cover. Okay. But anyways, the reason I chose this book was because it was in the synopsis. If the angle is kind of different, my cat did just knock over the camera. So like, just ignore that. Anyways, like I was saying, in the synopsis, it said that the book was a love letter to New York and a cinnamon roll boyfriend, which is like two things I absolutely love in books, and especially romance books. I love sunshiny golden retriever male main characters, so that kind of caught my eye. And then also I just love reading about books set in New York and kind of like just seeing people do things in the city and everything. I just absolutely love that. I don't know why. I personally have never been to New York, but books like this are just so cute. I don't know. It was just, I loved it so much. And then also, so I gave this book a 4.75 stars, and honestly, I didn't get like a 5-star feeling from it, which I don't know why. Honestly, there was nothing wrong with the book at all. I loved it so much. Like, this is probably one of my favorite romances ever, which is crazy to say, but I just love this book so much. It's like giving rom-com. Like, it actually is giving rom-com. Like, they were supposed to go on like a blind date because they met online or something, and then she ends up like not going on the date for reasons you would read in the book, and then somehow they end up meeting again, and they kind of become, the main male character kind of insists on like being friends, and they go on like these fun little, I wouldn't call them dates because they're friends, but I'm really bad at explaining books, but it was just, honestly, it was so good, and it's just so cute. And then the female main character, her name is Bennett, and she is kind of at a point in her life where she is not doing so good. She's kind of given up on life and everything, and it's just, she's not having a good time. I'm just gonna say that. And then Henry comes along, and he's just like, he picks her up, and it's just so cute. And exploring the reasons behind why Bennett isn't having a good outlook on life, I really thought that was an interesting backstory to her character, and I felt like each character had a lot of depth, and it's not just like what they seem on the outside, and I really enjoyed that aspect of the book, and honestly, it's just so good. And looking at Bennett's like social anxiety, I also really felt like I could connect to that and everything. Just the whole aspect of her anxiety and how she felt about like going out in public and doing different things. I just thought Bennett as a character had a lot of depth to her, and you could find so many different ways to connect to her, not just as a character, but her thoughts and feelings and emotions and everything. And if you couldn't connect to Bennett, you could find a different character to see yourself in, and it wasn't just like a romance. There was depth to it. On top, below that rom-com-ish look, you could really see the characters for who they are, and the characters together, I really feel like they had an amazing connection, and I think that connection made the story as a whole. And then another reason why I didn't really think it could be a 5-star and why I rated it a little lower than that, the conflict in the book, like the end conflict, I was kind of mad at Bennett, the main female character, because I feel like she was just acting so different than her character was through the whole book. I feel like she like really went downhill for some reason. I know she had a lot of feelings for this event they went to because her past was kind of intertwining with her future almost, and it was just an experience she was really struggling with, to be this person who basically her family and her old friends knew her as, and she was really trying to be that good person for them, but in doing that, she wasn't being very nice to Henry, and I just didn't really like that part of the book. It kind of gave me whiplash almost, because it was just such a change in emotion from the characters before this event to like during and after. I just felt it was like very explosive for no reason, but I do really feel like Henry handled that situation well, and he was able to speak his feelings, and I think that's just something he worked on as a character throughout his whole life. And then Bennett coming in, and she's not good at expressing her feelings and everything with her social anxiety. I feel like those characters helped each other grow through these moments that are not so amazing. And honestly, I feel like the characters were really good together, and it was just really cute. I really liked it. I'm kind of going on a rant about this book, but honestly, it's just one of my favorite books ever. Maybe I definitely want to read this again one day, maybe annotate it, because I did feel like I could connect to the characters so well, and hopefully maybe it'll be a 5 stars, but I just loved it so much. And I know some people, it wasn't their favorite, but for me, I could really see myself in these characters and how they interacted and everything. So anyways, I just thought it was so cute and I loved it. Yeah, so that was 4.75. So that's kind of it for the video. I don't think I'm going to be doing a TBR, at least in this video. Maybe I'll do one later on in the month, but I kind of want to focus on like kind of letting myself mood read, because I feel like the TBRs kind of make me want to read less, just because I feel constricted. And I know it's just like a guideline for what to read, but I also really love filming those videos, so I don't know. Anyways, let's end this video with a quick recap of all the books I read. So the first one was Love in Other Words, and I gave this 2.5. And then Sunrise on the Reaping, I gave this a 5 star. It was amazing. I love The Hunger Games, and I am so excited for this to be a movie. I think when adapted, if it's done well, it will be so good. And then Fearless by Lauren Roberts in the Powerless trilogy, I gave this 4.5. I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't my favorite fantasy, and it didn't give me the same feelings as Powerless did. And then probably one of my favorite reads of last month, other than Sunrise on the Reaping, was Passion Project by London Sperry. Sorry, I can never pronounce that, but 4.75 stars. Now that's really it for the video. I feel like all the books I read I enjoyed, and it was good. April was a good reading month. Hopefully May I'll have a better reading month, but I kind of am in a little bit of a reading slump, because Passion Project I just got through. Like, I always wanted to sit down and just read and go through that book, and I always wanted more in that book, that I feel like other books I'm reading at the moment are just not giving me that same feeling. So it kind of put me in a reading slump, but I'm still enjoying the books I'm reading. I'm just having trouble getting through them. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, I read 4 books in the month of April, and I hope you guys had an amazing reading month, and let me know some of your 5 stars. So thank you for watching. Bye!